Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Anna. I'm a little bit spooky, and today I want to talk a little bit about Bron-touring and contouring with a bit more of a bronzy tone rather than just sticking in the shadowy tones, and maybe a little bit more of a concise video that's pared down in comparison to my previous contour video, which was like an hour long, and it's like all the details and information coming at you with so much, so much. This one, I want to focus more in that warmer sphere of adding structure and warmth to the face rather than doing the shadowy look and the warmth. Just kind of finding that middle ground between the two, and I'll talk about a few products that help me achieve that, that fall into that middle ground of a multitasker type of bronzer contour. That's pretty much what's on the agenda today. If that interests you, just go ahead and keep on watching. But before you do, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know any comments, questions, concerns about bronzing, contouring, blush, highlight, all that in the comment box. And if there's any videos you want to see that are kind of demoing various techniques, let me know that as well, because I'm having fun doing these little educational videos. Most of them just wanting to offer you some inspiration, just showing you what I like to do for myself personally and my approach to things. So yeah. Let me know any of that down below. And without further ado, let's get into how I like to use bronzer to add structure and warmth to my face. And yeah, all right, on to it. So the other day I did a really in-depth video about contour, bronze, blush, highlight placement, all the things, and it was a very in-depth, long video. So that today we can talk about bronzing specifically in a Bron-touring fashion, as in adding that structure and warmth with one product rather than using something shadowy like we did in that video, and then using something bronze to warm up the skin, and kind of what I look for those double duty products that can kind of do both. Now I did mention the Patrick Ta bronzer contour duo because it has the kind of different shades in it where the cream is a little bit more shadowy and the bronzer is warm. But I wanted to show you some other products that I like that can kind of fall between a bronze and a contour on me. Like, they're not super duper warm on my skin tone, and they still give that structure and warmth at the same time. Like, they're not bronzy bronzers, if you know what I mean. They have a little bit of a coolness in them, a little bit of a shadow, and they can be effective for both bronzing and contouring. You can use bronzer to get structure to your face. It's just gonna be a different type of look. When using something that's more shadowy, like we talked about Fenty Amber, which is this one, look, I mean, it's gray. It's practically gray. It's a grayish taupe. It's gonna give a very shadowed appearance. With the Bron-tour technique, we're going for something a little bit more akin to this from like Charlotte Tilbury here in the Film Star Bronze and Glow. It has a slight bit of shadowiness in it, a little bit of coolness, but it also has lots of warmth in it as well. And it's a really nice balance between the two. And make sure that you can just do that, and you don't need to do a million steps. The reason I did the contour video the way I did, I wanted to show everything you could do, all the steps, and you can kind of just edit down from there. But today I want to focus more in on the Bron-touring method, because it's definitely something I do. I mean, my goodness, I'm not taking the time to do multiple contouring, bronzing steps every single day. This is more the pared back easy method. Something like this from Charlotte Tilbury, which is in the medium shade. This is the Beautiful Skin Sunkissed Glow Bronzer. See, now this is what I would use if I was truly just going for warmth, because this is a very warm shade on my skin tone, because I'm very fair. I know this comes in a lighter shade, I just don't have it that would be more akin, I think, to what's in Film Star Bronze and Glow. But I'm just, for reference sake, this is more truly like a bronzing product on me, where it does, of course, give a little structure, but it's overtly more warm. I'm thinking today, or going for products that are a little bit more into a slightly cooler place, vaguely cooler, but still warm. Something like Honey from Milani in the Liquid Contour Hey Honey, also from Milani, in their cream contour. Both of these shades are very effective, kind of warm, yet have just enough depth and shadow in them to. So I'm going to show you how I do that today. How I accomplish a look that has a bit of a contoured shape to it and warmth with less effort, I guess. I'm still going to be using more than one product. I still use a cream and a powder. That's just my method. I find layering up creams and powders just work best for me. Gives me good longevity. I think it looks really pretty on the skin. So I'm thinking I'm going to use a bit of these two today. I'm going to use the Milani Contour in Honey. This is their liquid contour in the Conceal and Perfect line. This is the lightest shade. And then this is Film Star Bronze and Glow from Charlotte Tilbury. And this is in the lighter of the colorways. This does come in a couple of colorways. I do have a few face palettes that I really enjoy for this kind of method, like Nudegasm from Charlotte Tilbury. Charlotte does bronzer well, what can I say? The Hyper Natural palette from Natasha Denona. This little trio right here. Oh, wonderful for doing this type of method. I love that little trio. I would like to have that individually. Does she sell that individually? I should probably look that up. Anyway, I've already done some foundation today. I've got on the Simply Ageless Skin Perfecting Essence from CoverGirl. Ooh, this is beautiful, y'all. This is beautiful. So I got that on today. And I've just got my eyes primed and a little bit of concealer on the lids themselves. But there's no other concealer on the face. It's just the foundation. Or essence, rather. Put my sleeves back so we can get down to business. I'm going to apply this in the same method that I would apply the shadowy contour with the e.l.f. Duo Complexion brush and using the small one and then the big side buffing out. Same method. We're just using the one product instead of the two. But I am going to take it off of the thing here, not going straight in, drawing on the face. But when I'm doing this method, I do go for a little bit more of a broader application. I'm not being quite as precise with it as I do with the shadowy contour. When I'm doing the shadowy contour, I don't want it everywhere. I want it to be in very strategic places to add that structure, to add that shadowy contouredness. Okay. So I'm going to take a little bit of this. I'm going to take a little bit onto the small side of this brush. And I'm going to work off a little bit on my hand because this is a pretty pigmented product. And I don't want to go too crazy with it. And I'm going to take it a little bit higher than where I would normally contour. I would normally put the shadowy contour here in this shadowed part of my face, which is very apparent already. I have a very strong shadow there. I'm going to take it a little bit higher where I would put the bronzer normally. And using this small brush just to kind of lay it down. It just keeps me from getting too much product on and keep things a little bit more under control. And then I'll take the fuller side and just buff it out. But just do a bit more of a general application. I'm not being quite so precise with it and concentrated about where it's going. Because I'm also adding in the warmth. Just a little bit more of a chill contour, if you will. And see, that still gives a nice shadow and structure there and the warmth at the same time. It can do double duty. You can accomplish both things in one go. Really, the most important part with this is picking that shade that can offer that little bit of shadowiness with the warmth, and that's going to be different for everyone across the board. If you're my skin tone, it's going to be something that maybe has a little touch of pink in it or a little touch of something cool in there. If you have a deeper skin tone, you can just use something just more of a classic bronzer shade and look absolutely beautiful and work wonderfully on you. Okay, so we take it around the jawline as well, same way. Up right about here, because I do like to bring this part of my face down a little bit. So just big old jaw muscles there. And just buffing it out. and bring some down the neck because we are bringing in that warmth, and you don't want any obvious like line of demarcation to where it looks like you have a stripe of bronzer. You want it to still look native to your skin tone and like the color belongs there. So that's where picking the shade is pretty crucial, because you want it to look like a shade that should be on your face. Like for me, if I went for something that was really, really warm, yellowy orange, it's gonna look too much of a contrast. It's not gonna look like it belongs there. It's gonna look orangey on me. And if you have more olive skin tone, you might want one that has a bit more of a yellow, leaning a bit of a green in it. And that's going to suit your skin a little bit better. It all really just depends on your undertones and your skin tone of what shade's going to work best for you for these methods. So that's where you kind of got to really play and experiment, swatch, and try things out. I meant to say in my previous video too, at night before you're going to bed or washing your face, that's the time to really experiment with your contour and placement and just see what it looks. Take pictures of yourself, take video of yourself from multiple angles, different lighting, see how it looks, and if you like the way it comes out. I would even say go a little bit harder and a little extra product than you normally would so you can really see the contrast, and then just scale it down for day to day. That's what I've done for myself, is I just would practice makeup before going to bed, or, you know, washing my face in the evening. Take a little video, a few pictures, and just see what things were looking like and if it looked good or not. And one fun thing about documenting all this online is you have seen some of my maybe not so good choices in colors and things before, and just it happens. We all make mistakes, and it's just makeup at the end of the day, and it doesn't matter because it washes off. But yeah, I'm just focusing this though right around the cheekbone area, not specifically just in the contour, but I'm coming up on the cheek some and just around, and it just gives that little bit of structure and life back to the face. Now, I'm a fan of like these types of liquid products because they're very, very thin and easy to work with if you work in small sections. I don't recommend placing the contour everywhere in one go because they can dry down. But what I like about them is the thinness of them. It gives them a nice kind of skin-like texture that plays well with foundation and other products. And they're easy to blend out if you just use a light hand. And I also really enjoy creams as well for general bronzing and contouring. All right, and then we'll take a little around the forehead. One thing I'd like to always kind of try new things in the background. I'm always experimenting with placement and stuff and just trying stuff out, and it's fun to do these types of videos periodically because my techniques change, and I think I find something that I like better or whatever that I want to show you guys, and maybe you can just get some inspiration. As I said in the previous video about contouring bronzing, there's no real rules to this. This is just doing what you want to do and what you like, and have fun with it because it's really not that deep. Girl, it's just makeup. But yeah, very effective right there, and just it's a bit softer. And I'll take my foundation brush that I used today, wherever it ran off to, and just ensure that everything is blended. And of course you can do this underneath foundation as well. You can underpaint this step. You don't have to do it over foundation. It's easier to demo this way than underpainting. I also have a full video on underpainting. I'll link that in my contour video. It's looking blended. Looks blended to me. All right, we'll take some right here on the outer corner of the eye, kind of coming lifting up from there. I believe NYX has some new bronzers out that have a bit more of a pink in them. pinky undertones, which I'm pretty interested in trying out. I'm wondering if they're similar to like the bronzers from Bare Minerals. And as I mentioned, I do have a patch on either side of my face here where there's zero pigment. It is apparently vitiligo caused by hypothyroidism. So it always looks a little unblended right there. I can't do nothing about it. I just don't have any skin pigmentation there unless I put something really full coverage that can even that out. But for the most part, I always have just a little bit of a lighter patch here and here. That is where there's just zero pigmentation in my skin in those specific parts. Apparently, with hypothyroidism, occasionally, not everybody I think experiences this, but one of the things that can happen is that your immune system will attack the parts of the cell that have pigment in them, or like melanin in them, and it just kind of kills the melanin. It kills any pigmentation that's in there. So that's what's happened there on my face, and they're pretty symmetrical. I think it's a little bit more prominent on this side, like I can see it a little more. But I've been wondering for a few years, like, what is up with that? And it just seems like it had gotten a little worse over the years, a little more obvious, and it's like, what's going on there? Well, that's apparently what it is. So now we know. It's weird. Thyroid issues can cause a lot of skin things that I don't think really get spoke about very often. Most people, when they talk about thyroid issues, they speak about like weight gain and being tired. That's just one part of it. Your hair goes crazy. You get straw-like hair. That can happen. You lose hair. Your skin goes nuts. You can get yellowed patches on the skin. You can get very, very dry skin. It can make you more pale than you normally are, which happens to me. I actually have gone up like almost 2 shades in foundation since I started thyroid treatment. I was sickly pale. I didn't realize that was what was wrong. And it can also cause lack of pigmentation and spots, or vitiligo, which is totally harmless on its own. It's not a big deal. I don't care. Didn't bother me any. Just want to point that out in case you think that's unblended or something. That's why I'm bringing it up. And we can take a little bit on the nose. And, without treatment or whatever, that can spread, and it will potentially spread. But what are you going to do? There's some treatments, I believe, for it beyond the thyroid treatment, I think. I saw where there's like some other things that can be done, but I'm really not that concerned about it. Okay, so I'm just taking a little bit to the tip of the nose here, by the way. Just a small amount, and we'll do a little bit right here. I've decided I don't like contouring right here so much. Just since my last video. I think it makes my face look bird-like or too dark right there or something. I don't know. Don't love it. So I'm just going to tap that out. And that's pretty much it for the liquid steps. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and do the concealer, the highlight portion, like I did in my previous video, with either just a concealer that's a couple shades lighter than my skin tone. I try to veer more to just a shade lighter because I'm already quite pale. I don't need any extra help there. So yeah, and then like something like a brightener shade, just pretty much the same method I did the last video. I think today we'll just use the one concealer instead of the brightener and concealer, just so you can kind of just for variety's sake. Let's use the Kosas concealer today. This one's fairly close to my skin tone, but just a little bit lighter. And I'm just gonna put a little bit here. This could be a bit more like maybe a minimal contour bronze step, or just an alternative method. And I'm just putting this right here where I tend to need the most coverage and have the most darkness, where I want to brighten up a bit. Down the center of the nose here. Right here, I have a bit quite shadowy right in that region, so I like to brighten there. A little bit on the forehead, chin, and just right in here. Working in very small amounts, and then we can build as we need. I'm going to start by tapping this on the rest of the face and blending it out. But this is a method I like to do with more of a lighter coverage type of feel. It just, I don't know, feels more suited to it. You can see the concealer's still giving me enough brightness, even without using the brightener. Shape around the nostrils, anywhere that wants more coverage, and brightening. Pretty straightforward. And then we can build as we need. I'm just going to take a little bit off of the doe foot here on my brush, just tip tap where I want to add some coverage and any brightening, which, like I said, it's usually right in here. I have some shadowiness there that I don't love. I kind of like to brighten up. And we can do a little bit right there. And I always just take my foundation brush with no extra product on and just give everything a little tip tap over, just to make sure we're blended. Oh, and of course, before you do concealer, you can do your cream blush. I just completely forgot today because I was so into doing the bronzer. But I would also sometimes throw in a cream blush at that step like I did in the previous video as well. So now I'm going to go ahead and set my face with a little bit of powder and we'll move on from there. So I'm going to take a little quick second here. I'm just going to use the Maybelline Fit Me powder because it is in front of me and it's a dang good powder. On the under eyes, I also really love using the e.l.f. Halo Glow Setting Powder. That's a favorite for the under eye region. But for sake of simplicity today, we'll do one powder. And this one performs really well under the eyes also. And you can use puff, brush, whatever your preferred method is. And this powder has a little bit of color to it. I have it in the shade Fair. And because it's light, and a little bit lighter than my skin tone, it also offers a brightening effect without being pink or yellow or any like one of those powders. It's more just a skin tone shade powder. And just press that anywhere that I want to set down, which is usually my whole face because I am a little bit of an oily girl. Combo lean and oily. But see, this gives just really nice brightness right there. So if you're not a fan of the pink and yellow tinted powders, you can always just use a powder that's just a little bit lighter. You don't have to go for those. Just whichever one works with your skin tone is fine. And I do take a little powder brush and, you know, just tap over. Knock off any excess, making sure we are good and set. All right, and now we can do the powder bronzer step, which again, you don't have to do. You could totally skip that and be good to go right here. I'm a more is more a little bit kind of person. Bit of a maximalist with my makeup. And the main perk of the layering of the bronzers and contours and all that, it really is for like a longevity's sake. And it can also just give the skin, it just looks somehow a little natural on the skin in a way, which you would think sounds counterintuitive. So I'm just going to take a brush about like this size and just press into the Film Star Bronze and Glow today. And we're going to just go over where we placed the bronzer, the liquid, all in that bronzer region. And you can definitely do the whole number 3. That is actually a pretty effective method for most people universally, is doing the little step, the number 3 shape. Because mostly, when I'm doing the bronzer, I'm going all over the perimeter, not just in those contour regions. So just like that, honestly, can be really all you need when it comes to adding some structure to the face, just minimally or simply. Again, you know, everybody's bone structure is different, but I find that to be one of the few things that can kind of apply across the board as a general rule, and you can just tweak from there, or general guide rather, not rule. And less is more when it comes to the actual application. I know we're using multiple products, but we're not using a ton of each product. And I really take my time blending them in. I'm not actually adding pigment. I'm just really making sure everything is blend it in nicely. A little bit on the tip of the nose there, on the sides, just dusting a little on. And we can take some at the outer corner of the eye also. That just gives a really nice lift. Okay, and there we go. There's a nice Bron-tour look. I'm going to throw on a little bit of blush just to kind of tie it in. Just grabbing this one from CoverGirl. This is Soft Sable. And it's just a really lovely warm blush. It kind of lends to the bronzy effect. And a little bit on the forehead where it was left on the brush. Just around the face a bit so it's not just on the cheeks. Just gives a bit more of a natural effect. Now you can always take your powder brush, whatever's left on it from powdering previously, or you can take something like the Halo Glow from e.l.f. Ambient Lighting Powder, something like that. I really recommend for this step of just kind of buffing everything in, giving it a nice kind of smooth appearance and a bit more of a seamless appearance. We'll do the Hourglass today since I used the e.l.f. in the previous one. And I'm going into Diffused Light right here, which is just a soft yellowy shade. And just using that to kind of make sure everything is blended in. Kind of like just a finishing powder step. I take some on a little small kind of flat brush. You can brighten up right under here. And just make sure everything looks nice and diffused. I'm going to throw a quick eye look on so you can get the full picture of how everything looks when it comes together, and we'll be right back. Okay, and here is everything all finished up. I just did a soft little kind of bronzy eye to tie in to the face makeup and, you know, fit the vibe. Anyway, yeah, this is pretty much just a nice little alternative to going all in on the contour bronze and just keeping a little more chill and laying a little bit more towards that warmth. Of course, you can build more warmth as appropriate for you and what you want to do and all that. I kind of, and honestly, now that I have the eye on and stuff, I'm like, I could probably add a little more bronze and it look really nice. So just quickly for demo purposes, let's do that. I'm gonna just grab my powder bronzer I just used previously, the Film Star Bronze and Glow, and we can just add a little more warmth in. Sometimes once the eye goes on, it's like, oh, well, you know, I could add this and that and whatever. Same with like once you put your lipstick on, you know, might want to put more blush or something. It's just a thing. I always go back and forth when I'm doing my makeup between steps and adjust and tweak. I think it looks a little nicer, a little more fresh. And mostly we just focus the product more so where the sun hits and then kind of flowing into those contour regions as well. Like just primarily the perimeter of the face and doing that nice little 3 shape. So yeah, let me know down below questions, comments, concerns about Bron-touring, bronzer, and all that jazz. I'll link my previous videos on the subject in the eye, and I think I'll make a little playlist about it too, because it's fun just to see various techniques and experiment and play, and I hope I can inspire you to experiment and play yourself and just have fun with makeup and do what makes you feel good. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay safe, stay spooky. Bye now.